Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Now, I have not been a fan of the Acolyte series from Disney Star Wars. I'll be completely and totally upfront with you about that. I will not lie to you in any way, shape, or form about that. But, that being said, don't go anywhere just yet. All of you Star Wars pixie dusters, all you Disney Star Wars pixie dusters out there, don't go anywhere just yet. Because, let me explain to you. I really need these Disney Star Wars Acolyte actors to stop talking, okay? Because the more some of them speak, the more I like them. And the more they make sense, and the more I feel so bad for them that they were put into side of a show with such poor writing and such a poor sense of direction, because at this point, I'm honestly thinking they deserve so much better. Just not too long ago, we did a video over Lee Jung-jae and some of the really cool time and effort that he put into understanding the Star Wars universe, learning English so he could act in the role, trying to embody Qui-Gon Jinn, and I'm just like, dude, I don't like your show, but I really, really like you. And ladies and gentlemen, I came into today thinking that I was going to make an article roasting or make a video roasting another one of these actors. But Manny Jacinto, boys and girls, Manny Jacinto out there has had a couple of opportunities, has been just flat out laid up with some questions directly from a lot of these acolytes of the cult, from the legacy media out there, these institutions that try to drive the divide among fan bases by asking questions in order to create certain responses that, of course, end up causing a bunch of headlines and cause a bunch of divide among the fan base. While, boys and girls, it looks like Manny Jacinto, like some of the others out there in this new generation of actors and actresses in Hollywood, are actually starting to figure out the game and how to play it. Or, like somebody pointed out in my chat while we were talking about this video before we started to cut it, maybe somebody out there in the marketing department is getting smarter and giving these people better talking points. I have no idea which way this goes. But considering what we've seen from a lot of the other people involved inside of Disney Star Wars and the Acolyte and some of the things that they've said and some of the things that they put out there, my money is actually betting on the fact that Manny might actually be a little bit smarter than the average bear out there in Hollywood. And why do I tell you this, boys and girls? Because we have a couple of articles over here with a couple of quotes from him making me think he's not as ridiculous and insane as a lot of the rest of these people involved over there at Disney Star Wars. And I'm all about praising the people that deserve it. Because the Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland here says fans are thirsty for Qimir because he flips classical gender tropes on hypersexualization. Now, I, of course, could make a video roasting Leslie Headland and talking about how she's completely insane and a hypocrite and all of those other things. But as I went through this article, what Manny said in response to this is really what hit me as well on all of that kind of stuff. But then we've got this other article over here with the headline that says, the Acolyte lead Manny Jacinto admits audiences aren't tuning in to Disney's latest Star Wars series. It might just take some time to get other people on board. So the full quotes here are really inspired this video, because when you go through in detail the things, like I said, I don't know if the kid's just really smart and he must seem to really know how to handle these kind of questions and try to avoid a lot of the nonsense. I think is a very smart thing. And you know what? We're going to praise him a little bit today, boys and girls. So we're going to check out these two articles. We're going to get into both of the quotes from him. And we're going to give you all of the juicy details and why I think this boy is a little bit smarter than the average bear when it comes to a lot of these Hollywood actors and actresses. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe and or follow if you have not already, because we recently just crossed 800 on YouTube and Rumble, and we are sailing our way towards 900, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment down below. Do you think the new generation of actors are actually getting a little bit smarter out there, or do you think the talent agencies have just finally figured out all of the nonsense and the BS that simply does not work with audiences and fans? Let me know what you think about all that down below. So, boys and girls, right over here, the Acolyte lead Manny Jacinto admits audiences aren't turning in to Disney's latest Star Wars series. It might just take some time to get other people on board. And I like the positive attitude that he comes with this. So obviously we can go over the ratings, and we've done that tons. We know they're a disastrous dumpster fire. We know that it has pretty much been a financial disaster for them as far as the movies. And whether or not you enjoy the show or not, it doesn't really matter. 2 + 2 still equals 4, and the numbers just don't add up to this being a success, even if you might have liked it or not. So with the series' struggle so prominent and unable to be ignored, it should come as no surprise that the topic came up during a recent pre-finale interview given by the aforementioned Jacinto to GQ. Pressed by the site writer Yang Ji Go for his thoughts on The Acolyte's negative reception, the Qimir actor opined, "It's a cycle." Right? And this is the other thing. Pressed by the site's writer. It sounds like he tried to probably avoid this question, that he didn't even want to talk about it, which also is another smart tactic to avoid putting yourself in the middle of a bunch of controversy when it comes to the audience and the fans. But Presti says, with everything that comes out since the original trilogy, there's always a very passionate group that doesn't like change. Notice how he doesn't say anything about toxic fans here. That wants the same feeling that they experienced when they were kids. Only now they're grown up and their tastes have matured, and they're more critical about the art and the world, and they are just more precious about the things that they've experienced when they were younger. Looking at it through that, pointing to the ongoing softening of fans' feelings towards the prequel trilogy, he then declared, looking at it through that lens is really helpful. And it sucks that sometimes you have to wait 10, 20, 30 years to get your flowers. But the fact that a lot of people are enjoying it right now, I think that's all I can focus on right now. It might just take some time to get other people on board. But at the end of the day, I'm so proud of what we made. Now look at the chances right here. Look at the opportunities he had to blame the fans, call out toxic fandom, do all of this kind of stuff. I have no idea if Henry Cavill kind of just set a standard for a lot of these guys that a lot of them are trying to imitate, because they saw how successful Henry Cavill was with ingratiating himself with the fans and just coming off as a very smart guy and trying to avoid a lot of this BS. I have no idea if Manny or some of these other guys are taking a hint from Henry Cavill's page or not, but it's definitely a refreshing thing to see, because they had plenty of opportunities with these kind of questions to totally go out there and fan blame and just call it a bunch of racists and sexists and homophobes and all of that kind of nonsense. But yet, he smartly avoids all of those things, and I'm enjoying that, and I will give credit where credit is due. Manny, at least so far, seems like a smart cookie who knows to avoid all of this kind of stuff. So also, once again, back to the showrunner Leslie Headland talking about the classic flip thing right here. So she goes through all of her excuses and all of her kind of stuff with her kind of nonsense of trying to flip it back and forth. And, the stranger flips classic gender tropes of hypersexualization, but a true sex symbol is someone who resonates emotionally with fans. Manny's magnetism is rooted in his acting, not just his physique. His ability to access vulnerability, empathy, and longing is very compelling, right? Which is what the kind of answer you would expect to come from Leslie Headland. Not that, hey, guess what? He's hot. People like attractive people. People like attractive men. All of that kind of stuff. Yeah, or like the legacy media, the Variety, the Hollywood Reporter article put out there. Yes, sex does indeed sell. Men and women like looking at attractive people or attractive things in general. We like and enjoy beauty, and God has graced us and blessed us with so much of that we should absolutely appreciate and understand that. And actually, guess what? Color of shock there. People like to look at nice things. So his response to this question, when asked about this, of course, he could have come up with all of the kind of BS. He could have let into all of the tropes. He could have let into all the nonsense. But this is a common sense and completely and totally reasonable answer. And guess what? Duh. Yeah, he's right. As for Jacinto himself, when asked for his thoughts as to why so many fans found themselves attracted to his character, he playfully opined, I think baby oil goes a long way. Baby oil and wet hair. Yes, absolutely, because as you've seen from either in some of the clips you've seen from the show, they have no problem presenting him with his shirt off, and the guy is very much in shape. And as far as I'm concerned, he's not ugly. That's about the best basic I can ever come for judging another man, but I can absolutely say the guy is in shape, in great physical shape, and absolutely, of course, ladies, don't lie to us there. A little bit of wet long hair, a little baby oil, making him glisten in the sun, seeing all those muscles all defined. Holy shit, I almost went gay there for a second. But come on, girls, you know what I'm talking about. Don't lie to me, ladies. It tickles your fancy, and we know what you mean by your fancy out there. Later, in offering a more sincere answer, the actor asserted, he's like that high school bad boy. He just minds his own business. He's not pulling you. He's not telling you to come and be with him. He's just living his own life, and you wind up intrigued by what he's doing. And yes, that's absolutely reasonable take. That is a trope that we have seen not only done a million times in movies and television shows, but that's also a lot of us, that's something that we have seen in our own real life. In school, whether it be high school or middle school or whatever kind of area you were depending on, you saw that happen time and time with girls. There are certain girls that will just always go for the bad boy because of the intrigue and the mystery. And yes, I understand that. I get it. It's one of those things that the reason why you're attracted to the golf girl that wears spike necklaces, and you're kind of like, that looks dangerous, but I'm interested. It's like, I totally get that. I totally understand that aspect of it and the perception of it. And of course, there's a lot of people out there like, oh, why are they always trying to make the villains hot? And da 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 da. And you're right. It absolutely is a double standard, and we can talk about that all day long. How Leslie Headland is totally okay with hypersexualizing this character because guess what? It probably tickles her fancy as well. And whatever you do, don't tell her wife that. But at the end of the day, it's one of them situations where yes, this stuff works. And of course, the double standard exists because they wouldn't want to hypersexualize a female. We didn't get any scenes with Osha or May coming out of like the water, you know, just freshly washed and nothing more than basically a bikini or her underwear or whatever like that. Yo, it's absolutely a double standard. As always, rules for thee and not for me. But at the end of the day, this kid gets it. He understands some common sense. He knows to avoid the BS consequences, the BS conversations, and the BS questions out there that will end up getting him in trouble with his fans. And for that, I can respect it. So for Manny Jacinto, as of right now, until you go out there and say something stupid, I respect you. Your show might suck. Leslie Headland might be a horrible writer, and it might completely and totally destroy and devastate the canon. But just like I gave our dear sweet friend Lee Jung Jae credits, Manny, I'm going to give you credits too, because I honestly came into this today thinking I was going to roast the living hell out of your scrawny little behind out there. But at the end of the day, boys and girls, this kid gets it. He understands the way the world's working, and he definitely knows how to completely and totally avoid all of the legacy media tropes that would have just not got him into nothing more than a bunch of very hot water with a very passionate Star Wars fan base. And maybe, just maybe, things really are changing, and the new generation actually is starting to finally get it. Who knows, boys and girls? There may be hope after all.